Yes, my people, how are we? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're going to be running you through a full day of eating at peak off season. So calories are almost at like 5,000 at the moment, and they have been for the last 8 weeks, 9 weeks. So man is struggling. But if you are not uncomfortable at the end of your off season, then you're probably doing something very wrong. So we have meal number one up here, guys. We have got 100 grams of sourdough, 3 whole eggs and 100 mils of egg whites, and then we've got 60 grams of oats, 150 grams of berries, and 50 grams of Train by JP. No, not 50 grams, 20 grams of Train by JP whey protein. And then also with meal number one, I'm going to have 1 cap of betaine HDL for the digestive enzymes, and then I'm going to have 15 IUs of Lantus. So that is meal number one, guys. The macros will be up on the screen. I know I look kind of homeless at the moment. I've got this bedhead receding hairline haircut going on, but we'll get that sorted very soon. Don't worry. Got a shower, tidy myself up, and then we will crack on with our day. So first thing I do after meal number one is I take my morning subs. So in here we've pretty much got the entire Train by JP health range. So I've got 1 cap of Digest the Pharma Pro, I've got 3 caps of Omega Pharma Pro, 4 caps Vital Sport, 1 vitamin D3 and K2, 2 Love Heart, 2 Heart Care, and then I've also got some metal folate in there as well, because in a recent blood test I got back, not my last one, the one before, my folate was like rock bottom. So start supplement with that. It's back up to like 20 now, which is like almost halfway in the range, so got that sorted. Last set of bloods as well, uric acid was kind of low, so I started supplementing with some zinc. So guys, even if you're not enhanced, if you're natural, it still pays to get your blood work done every now and again, because with a bodybuilding diet, it can be, I don't want to say restrictive, but you're eating the same foods all the time. So there may be something missing or lacking within those foods that you actually need for optimal functioning in your body, right? For me, that was folate. I wasn't eating enough folate-rich foods. I added eggs back into my diet. I had some spinach, etc. And I supplemented with some metal folate, and now that's gone back up. And I kind of knew at the time I was deficient in something, because I was getting these really bad like midday slumps, low in energy, kind of like a bit of a head rush when I stood off the couch, kind of like low iron symptoms almost. And the blood work kind of confirmed that, and then I could do something about it and I could implement something, okay? So getting blood work done, guys, super important for your health, but also maybe to identify if there's something lacking in your nutrition or in your current setup that needs to be maybe replaced with supplementation, or something new needs to be implemented in your diet. And also with the Train by JP health subs, since I have been taking those, which is pretty much almost my whole entire time I have been actually enhanced, my blood work has been fantastic, okay? Even the last set of bloods that I done, after the heaviest cycle I've ever done and the longest cycle I've ever done duration, my LDL came back at 2.56, and my HDL came back at like 0.58 or something like that. When I am on cycle, my HDL always tends to go between the 0.5 and 0.6 mark. When I'm off cycle, it tends to be like 0.8 or whatever. So that's always going to be a little bit suppressed. With anabolic usage, it just is what it is. Obviously, we want it as high as possible, but mainly what we're concerned about is the LDL. So fish oils, Heart Care, Love Heart, all of those things are fantastic in making sure your LDL stays in range, and also goes without saying, eating a good diet and not eating garbage. So you can get the whole entire Train by JP health range on trainbyjpnutrition.com. Use code DMAC10 if you want 10% off. Shameless plug. Alright guys, we have showered, we have cleaned up, we've done a little bit of work, and now we are having meal number two. So here we've got 200 grams of chicken, 75 grams of raw white rice, a little bit of ketchup in there as well, and then we've got 3 caramel snack jack rice cakes. So one of the changes I made to my nutrition, just kind of off my own back, was I pulled back on some of the rice I was having, and I added some rice cakes, right? So I think I took out, I can't remember how much rice I took out, but anyway, I replaced it with 6 rice cakes. So with my meal 2 and with my post-workout meal, I have 3 rice cakes instead of like 40 grams of rice or something like that. I think 3 rice cakes is like the equivalent carbs of 40 grams of rice. So the reason I did that is just food volume, right? I did this when I got back from Vegas, as when we were over in Vegas, my appetite was kind of already bad before we headed over. And then when we did get over there, it was even worse because routine was a little bit off, circadian rhythm was a little bit off, and my clock in terms of eating my meals was a little bit off as well. So I was eating basically at times that I wouldn't normally have eaten at. UK time took me a while to adjust, and then when I came back, it took me a while to adjust back into that as well. So pulled back some of the volume from the rice, added some rice cakes, and this is something I generally tend to do towards the end of a gain phase, but only when things get very difficult. Obviously, there is some sugar in these. So like 3 rice cakes is 7.2 grams of sugar. So like not a massive amount, but still, you know, that's like an extra 14, nearly 15 grams of sugar per day, rather than just having, you know, rice, which is a little bit cleaner. Now, sugar isn't the biggest deal in the world, especially if you're kind of having a pre and post workout. But I try and keep my food as clean as I possibly can where I can. But something like rice cakes at this point are a useful tool just to make sure I can actually get the food in. And to be honest, at this stage in the off season, I'm always more concerned about my digestion, right? I don't want to be overly force feeding the meals into me because I don't want to be overly bloated and distended, kind of blowing out my midsection more than it needs to be. I want to keep the midsection nice and tight, make sure my core stays in a really good position as I kind of continue to get bigger with bodybuilding. So yeah, that's a massive priority for me. So I'm going to eat this meal now. I'm going to watch a little bit of YouTube, and then we'll get ready to go to the gym because I am training legs today. So I know the last video you would have seen from the Vegas vlogs was actually a leg day, but I'll take you through a little bit of today's leg day as well. If you haven't watched those Vegas vlogs, guys, then go onto my channel and give them a watch. Pretty decent vlogs. I got like 7 vlogs out of the Vegas trip, so they've done me for a while, and today is the first day in like a month. I'm after picking up the camera, so if I'm a little bit rusty, apologies. But moving forward from here now, going to be doing a lot more vlogs as we kind of approach prep. So we are now 3 weeks and 3 days out from the beginning of prep, so it is coming around rapidly, guys, absolutely rapidly. I have my check-in with Kuba tomorrow, so we'll see what he says in terms of if there's going to be any slight pullbacks in food or increase in steps or anything like that. We had kind of mentioned that briefly last week. We may potentially do that and just kind of start tidying up before we start prep, but we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that in a future vlog. So I'll wrap that up there, guys. All right, guys, so pre-workout meal, we have got 160 grams of cereal. We've got a little bit of mix of Rice Krispies and Frosties there. 120 Rice Krispies and 40 Frosties just for taste. And then we've got 150 grams of banana with 50 grams of Train by JP whey. As you can see here, Chloe has gone a bit mad and she has put the Christmas tree up even though it is the 14th of November. But we're getting the spirit nice and early this year. So I've definitely been struggling with this meal quite a lot over the last couple of days, I'm not going to lie. And normally this is the meal that kind of goes in for me the easiest, I would say. But I've left a good kind of hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes in between this and my last meal today. So we'll get this in. Hope it sits and digests well before we go to the gym and train legs, because man does not want to be spewing up his cereal. And I've come close the last couple of sessions, I'm not going to lie. So we get this into us, guys, and then I'll meet you at the gym. Okay, so I've just rocked up in the gym and I've just realised that I forgot my little mic back to record the workout. So I don't think I'm going to talk through today's session, but I think I'll just record some clips, maybe just do a montage or potentially a voiceover over it. So yeah, I'm going to get copyright for this music anyway, so I won't be able to talk. And you probably won't be able to hear me because this gym is always so loud anyway. So clips for today, guys, but feeling good, actually not feeling too bad today. As I mentioned at the start of this video, things are starting to get a little bit of a struggle. So I did kind of drag myself up out of bed this morning and have been doing so for the last couple of days. But now that I'm in the gym, I'm feeling fresh, I'm feeling ready, and I fucking want it because it's legs. But like I always say to people, once you get into the gym, leave all of your feelings, all of your emotions outside the gym and just lock the fuck in, because that's what you got to do if you want to make progress, guys. What's happening, guys? So I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I was going to give a little bit of an update as to where things are at right now and where they've been since Vegas at the end of this video, but I just thought I'd do a little talking head box in the corner here, just to make the video a little bit more interesting and so I didn't get copyrighted. So anyway, guys, Before we left to go to Vegas, I was 108.7 kilos. And as I mentioned in those videos when I was over there, I did drop quite a substantial amount of body weight. So by the time I actually got back after like the 8 days I was away, I was 106 kilos on the scales, okay? And it took me a full week. Well, it took me 6 days to get back up to like 108.5. So off the back of Vegas, I came back, I did a little bit of a kind of devolume, load, reset. Obviously, we were devolume while we were over in Vegas. Got the body weight back up, and then from there, it's pretty much been a pretty linear trajectory ever since, right? So there's been 4 weeks almost since that point, 5 weeks since we've been back from Vegas, and the progress has been pretty decent, right? So that first week back, I was 107.7 on average, jumped up to 109 on average, then 110.2 on average, then 110.1, and then 110.8. So we're in a pretty good position. 110.8 is like my second ever highest average weighing across the week, if you want to call it that. I think 111.3 was like the highest I'd ever been on average. So I don't think I'm going to go up and beyond that. I don't think I'm going to like peak out body weight wise this off season. I think I'm probably more inclined to hold in and around the 110 kilo mark, but who knows, right? We'll see what happens. We're going to keep food where it is for the next 3 weeks until prep starts. But if my body weight goes up, it goes up. Kuba doesn't want to pull the food down right now because the look is good, body composition is good. Performance is still trending upwards for the most part. So we're just going to hold tight here. And the only real adjustment that we've actually made is just to bring my steps up a little bit, as I kind of mentioned that we would earlier in the video. So like I said, training has been fucking flying, guys. You know, normally when I get to this stage in an off season towards the end, I find my training takes a little bit of a dip, if I'm honest. Things start to slip a little bit, but it's not been the case this time around at all. I've obviously had moments where the training has kind of dipped a small bit. I've had a couple of regressions, but I just kind of needed a deload or needed some rest to let my body freshen up. And then I'd go back into the gym and then boom, I'm getting consistent progress session after session after session again. So we're in a great spot. You know, I've never been as strong. I've never been as big. I've never been as lean at this weight. I am feeling it though. Like I am fucking battered even sitting here now. Like my legs are killing me after that session yesterday. I have Will coming to do physio later on, so hopefully that will alleviate some of the stress. But I'm pretty crippled, guys, right? I have been definitely run the red line this off season in terms of like what my recovery capacity is. But I think I've been reaping the benefits of that. You know, I've improved dramatically. I took my check-in photos yesterday and I compared them with the last time I was 110.9 kilos on the 28th of January to now. So literally 10 months of a difference, and everywhere looks improved. I'm leaner, but my shoulders are much bigger. My legs are much bigger. Quads, hamstrings, glutes, pretty much everywhere in the lower body is much bigger. Back has thickened up a little bit. Arms have come up a lot. Chest, again, it's probably my weakest body part in terms of how quickly it grows. I think it has grown a little bit, but it's not been hectic in terms of like the rest of my physique, right? But there has been some very noticeable improvements, right? Even in a 10-month period of time, which isn't really that long, it's not exactly a spot the difference transformation like a lot of these cunts be posting on Instagram these days. You know, someone gets off stage and they're like, oh, off season now, going to make all these improvements, and then they come back, fucking 2 years later and they look the exact same on stage and they probably weigh less, right? So, you can tell who's been putting in the work and who hasn't. But I don't talk shit without backing it up, guys, okay? If anything, I've talked progressively less shit on Instagram about my progress and how locked in I am and yada, yada, yada as the years have gone on, as I've been bodybuilding, and I've just been more focused on doing the work, right? Just don't really say how much I'm not missing, or don't really say any of this shit on Instagram as much as I used to, because I'm just always on it. I'm just always doing what I need to do to make progress, and my physique will do the talking for me, both on stage and in pictures and during this prep and everything else. So I don't feel like I need to talk the shit, and I feel like, people have eyes, so people know the people who are putting in the work and who aren't, right? I look at guys I know on Instagram and I see the progress they make from show to show, from off-season to off-season, and I know very clearly whether they've actually been walking the walk and not just talking the talk. So, that speaks for itself, guys. But anyway, prep is in 3 weeks, like I said, so we're just gonna cruise in now, guys. I'm definitely ready to start prep. Like, the appetite, digestion and all, they're just not there. It's a little bit of a struggle. I wouldn't say I'm struggling now as much as I have done in previous off seasons. Maybe I am, but like relatively in my mind, it doesn't feel like as much of a struggle as it has in the past. And I think this is key for anyone who's watching, who's maybe a little bit earlier on in their bodybuilding journey, is that like the first time you do a prep or the first time you do like a legit push-up, right, where your appetite does go and your digestion does get shit and you do get really heavy and you get out of breath and you're lethargic and you're dragging yourself out of bed every single morning. The first couple of times you go through that, it feels like fucking torture, right? You feel so uncomfortable. You kind of want to quit. You want to give in. You question whether it's worth it or not. But if you can push through that, it's like you gain that experience of being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And every single time you go through a phase again, you're better equipped to mentally and physically deal with those things. You know, you just do the work and you don't care about what you feel. You become a little bit blunt emotionally to how you feel. And it's very easy to ignore when the progress is coming thick and fast, right? And another thing I will say about this off season in particular is that it's been the shortest I've ever done, but it's the most progress I've ever made. And I think a key component to that has been just ignoring how I'm feeling a little bit more, being less emotionless about everything, telling myself or not telling myself I'm tired or I'm fatigued or I need a deload or whatever, and just pushing through as much as I possibly can. And the more I push through, the easier it gets for me to push through mentally and physically, right? And also with my training, I think my accuracy has improved so much. Like, I can connect with everything so much better. Like, it's crazy. I'm nearly 12 years into training and you think you know it all, or you think you've gotten your execution or your intensity to like a really good level and a really good standard. But it's something that's constantly evolving and adapting. And I've certainly found this year I've taken a huge step up in like my application to my training, the sets, how much I can connect with each muscle. And it's made a huge difference, right? And again, it's not all about the load. And yes, I've made crazy progression to my strength this off season, but I haven't been focusing on body weight this off season. I haven't been focusing on the weight on the bar. And because I haven't been focusing on those things, I have actually gotten stronger and I've actually gotten bigger and I've made more progress. I've stayed leaner and my body weight is roughly around the same as it was in my last push-up when I was focusing on actually pushing up my weight. So it's funny, guys, you know, don't chase the scale, don't chase strength, don't chase all these things you think you need to chase to make progress. Just focus on the process, focus on the day-to-day, focus on being super accurate and focus on being better on all those 1%, and you will make the progress that you want to make as long as you put in the time, the effort and the consistency and you're not a little bitch about it. So anyway, guys, my window for chatting shit is nearly over. So I'll leave you there with my parting thoughts and enjoy the rest of the video and the remainder of the meals. Alright guys, so just wrapped up legs. T-shirt change, as you can see, hopped in the sunbed afterwards and I can just never put back on a sweaty t-shirt, so I always bring a spare t-shirt to the gym with me so I can change for the way home. I go through so many t-shirts every single day, honestly, but look, I have tons of them anyway, so it's all good. But very good session today. Now, I did have to drop the loading a little bit on the glute drive towards the end because of the lower back pump, but all other sets progressed pretty much, like all our sets, full stop, not just exercises. So honestly, I didn't think I had that in me today, but once I just started getting into the session, fucking felt pretty good, felt pretty strong, and I felt a little bit less battered than I have done in previous leg days. Maybe that's that BPC kicking in. I have been taking a little bit of BPC for my high CRP that I got back, which is an inflammatory marker in my last blood test, just try and bring the inflammation down a little bit. But it's actually been making my knees feel brand new, so that's been a plus. So I'm just gonna sit here, ruminate, brood a little bit, let my stomach not feel super sick, and then I'm gonna drive home, and then I'm gonna get my post-workout meal into me. So we'll catch up with you in a little bit. Alright guys, so we are back from the gym. And I have been greeted with my post-workout meal, which has been cooked for me. So you gotta get a bodybuilding wife, guys, because Chloe works from home on 3 days of the week. So thankfully on those days I can text her to put on my post-workout meal, so it's ready for me when I get home, which is a massive help in me getting all my meals in on time. So gotta find yourselves a real one like that, guys. Someone who cooks your meals for you so you don't miss them. Someone who does all your pins for you in the morning because you can't be arsed doing them or you can't reach certain body parts to do them without getting a cramp. You know, essential, guys. So, post-workout meal anyway, we have got 125 grams of raw weight rice, 200 grams of chicken, and we've got 15 grams of raisins. I'm also going to have 150 grams of pineapple with that, and we're going to take another cap of the Protein HCl, and then we're going to wash that down with 3 caramel rice cakes. And then standard post-workout meal ritual, we're going to watch a little bit of the Bros. So, macros for this meal will be up on the screen, guys. This is the largest meal of the day, but normally it goes in pretty easily because when I get back from the gym, I haven't eaten normally in about 3 to 3.5, 4 hours. So it's probably the largest window that I have between meals throughout the day. So this generally tends to go in chef's kiss. So we'll neck this into us now, guys. Well, we'll slowly chew through this over the next 20-25 minutes. And then I'll catch up with you for meal number 5.
Meal number 5 here. So more of the same. You guessed it. Chicken and rice. And we also got a little bit of pineapple here as well. So 150 grams of pineapple. And we've got, 75 grams of, 100 grams of cooked weight rice, 200 grams of chicken. And what I'm going to add to this, which I have actually been loving in the off season, is going to be this smoky bacon ketchup, right? So not my usual 0 sugar ketchup, but once prep starts, that is going to be going back in every single meal. But I think this is like, let me see. So per 10 grams of this, there is 10 calories. And per 10 grams of the 0 sugar ketchup, there is 4 calories. So there's 6 more calories in it per 10 grams. I use like 30 to 35 grams. So like what? It's like an extra 20 calories. But it's fucking worth it, boys. It's worth it because this tastes absolutely unbelievable. Do you ever have like a fry up, right? And you make a sandwich, like a sausage sandwich with like rashers, sausage, butter, ketchup on the bread, and you eat it? That's literally what this tastes like. Obviously you have ketchup with it as well, but that's what this tastes like, just in the ketchup. It tastes like a sausage sandwich. So it's good shit. Give it a try if you see it in Tesco. It's like £3 a bottle, and I'd say I spend an outrageous amount of money just on ketchup every single month, but it is what it is. Ketchup is good, and if anyone says otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about. So I want to eat this meal now. I'm going to also watch some Sons of Anarchy. Chloe's inside here doing some early Christmas packing up in her Christmas pajamas in front of the Christmas tree. And we're in the second week in November.
You can't ruin Shannon's advent calendar.
Shannon is going to watch my YouTube videos.
You just don't know.
Yeah, you just don't know, really. You just don't know who's tuning into the YouTubes these days. But yeah, if anyone knows Doi's sister, don't tell her to watch this video. Not that she will. But yeah, we'll watch this. Get back to Sons of Anarchy now. We've been watching Sons of Anarchy probably for the last, how many weeks, Chloe? Like 2.5 weeks maybe?
Yeah.
And we're at like the middle of season 6 now. So there's like, oh man, there's like, I would say like 80 something episodes in it. And we've gone through about 60 of them. So we fucking tear through it. But I've seen Sons of Anarchy before, but Chloe hasn't, but I knew she'd like it. But now that I'm rewatching it, I must say, it's probably up there in the conversation of like best shows of all time. So obviously you've got Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, right? You've got like limited series like Band of Brothers, which are up there as well, but let's not count limited series. Honestly, I think if you have Breaking Bad and you have Game of Thrones, I'd nearly put Sons of Anarchy third, to be honest. Sons of Anarchy, Peaky Blinders, Stranger Things are all kind of in there in my top 5, I think. So once Stranger Things new season comes out, we're going to rewatch all that and then watch that season. So yeah. Anyway, guys, less talking, more eating. Got to get huge. Eat big to get big, god damn it. So we get this meal in now. Catch up with you for the final meal just before we head to bed. Alright guys, so final meal of the day. We have got 85 grams of oats, 150 grams of blueberries, 15 grams of almond butter, and then we have 50 grams of a Train by JP whey. DMAC 10 for discount, guys. So this is the final meal of the day. Been having oats pretty much every single morning and evening of this off season. This is something that in previous off seasons I actually wasn't able to do, just due to kind of like appetite, digestion mainly, is kind of having the bowl of oats, waking up feeling very bloated, like stomach cramping, etc. Haven't been getting as many issues this time around. The oats still seem to be sitting pretty well. If anything, before Christmas when I did that push up and I had cream of rice in, all the artificial sweeteners in the cream of rice were actually causing me more issues than anything. So I've swapped back to just oats, and they've actually been going in a treat. Unfortunately though, I went to Tesco the other day. They're all sold out of the Flavin's Irish Oats, which are the goats. So I had to settle for these fucking Quaker Oats, and I'm not feeling them whatsoever. They're absolutely wank. They're almost like, it's kind of like Ready Break, more than oats. They're a little bit like sludgier and like powdery or something like that. They're like really runny oats rather than like thick oats that you can almost like chew. So yeah, I'm not a fan. They're not the ones. Not the ones at all. The Flavins are the kings. The absolute kings. So we're going to wrap that video, well, we're going to wrap that full day of eating up here, but I think I'll catch up to you tomorrow for a little bit of a sit down and chat and give a little bit of an update, as it has been pretty much a month, probably more than that really, since I've kind of updated on my current situ and where we're at and all that other sort of good stuff. Because the Vegas vlogs, I didn't really do that. And it's been a while since I kind of have done that. Shared some photos, shared where I'm at, and discussed kind of how I'm feeling and all that sort of stuff. So I'll leave the total calories and macros for this meal up the screen now. And no, total calories and macros for the day up on the screen now. And then we'll go to bed, get some rest, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow for a little sit down and chat. Peace.